Today we're going to be talking about an important topic of referee and coach interactions. So stay with me. G'day everyone, Coach Craig Rowe from OzSwoosh and OzSwoosh Academy, and this is the Coach Approach, the show where I help you help your athletes by sharing information with you that can help you improve your coaching and therefore the outcomes for the players you work with. Today, we're going to be talking about the really important topic of coach and referee communication and relationships on the court. So one of the things that I really want to emphasize in today's episode is that your players model your behavior. So if you're coaching young athletes, the responsibility you have as a coach in your interactions with referees is that you must model the behavior that you want your athletes to actually also follow. So the way you deal with referees is likely to impact the way that players in the future will deal with referees as well. So yes, I know that referees can get calls wrong. It's one of those things that is one of the most frustrating things for coaches and players and spectators and parents and everyone who's on the sideline. But let's face it, the game is actually an imperfect game. Coaches make mistakes, players make mistakes, and referees are going to make mistakes. So if you understand that, you realize that the referees are just trying to do the best that they can do within a given situation. And the number of situations that can actually occur in a game is almost infinite. So they're trying to create decisions in a split moment around what they see and what they understand the rules to be. So if you understand that it's an imperfect game, it might pay to give the referees a little slack. If you're a coach, you are a coach. If you're a player, you are a player. And if you are a referee, you are a referee, and never the three shall meet. So if I'm coaching, I can't play the game. So I have to take the advice of my athletes who are on court, who are participating in the moment, and trust that the information they're giving me is actually correct. In the same way as I don't step on the court as a coach to referee the game, I have to let the referees do their job, and I don't expect the referees to tell me how to coach. So just be more considerate around the approach that you take to managing your referee communication and interactions. If you're barking at the referees and you're disputing every call, then there's every chance that your players will mimic that. They'll start to dispute every call, and the spectators will start to, dispute every call, and then your parents, and then it gets ugly. And now it feels for the referee like the world is on their shoulders. The weight of the world is on their shoulders. And that can be a really tough situation for them to then be able to do their job and focus on the game, because now they're focused on everything else. So if you want the best outcome for the game, then you need to allow the referees to actually do their job. Now, one of the strangest things I've noticed over 30 years that I've been coaching is that a lot of coaches do bark at referees and tell them they've made poor decisions, but I actually know some of those coaches, and some of them have actually never read a rule book. So my first piece of solid advice for any coach here that wants to banter with a referee is go and sit a referee course. Not so much to blow the whistle, but to do the orientation component of it so that you understand the rules. You wouldn't drive a car if you didn't do the road rules. So it's interesting that a lot of coaches actually do coach, but they actually have never sat a referee's course or have never actually read the full rule book. If you actually read the full rule book, then you'll come to realize that there is a lot to learn for a referee and a lot of scenarios that they have to decide in a moment. So I would encourage you to go and do that. Now, one of the things I take as an approach as a coach is when I'm watching a game and I dispute a call, if a referee says to me, I didn't see what you saw, then I accept that, because the camera angles in the NBA are a good example of what can happen when you're standing in a different position. How many times in the NBA have you seen them go to a video referee and they've shown all the camera angles on a particular play, and they're looking for, say, who the ball came off in the dying seconds of a game to work out who has possession, and all the angles you're looking and you're going, oh, that came off LeBron or something like that, and then they'll show an angle above or or from a different perspective. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, actually, no, it didn't come off LeBron. So you also have to understand that the referees call what they see. So if you're in a different position on the court, you may well be seeing something different. That doesn't mean your call's wrong, but also you got to recognize that in their position, they're calling what they're seeing, and they have responsibility for different areas on the court. Now, one thing I've learned of 30 years of coaching is I don't think I've actually ever changed a referee's call. So, and you'll often hear that a lot of coaches will say they've never changed a referee's call. Right or wrong, it's not likely to happen. It's very rare. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it's certainly very rare. And it's no good getting and barking over something that happened in the past. So players, we encourage them to have the next play mindset. We as coaches also have to have a next play mindset when it comes to referee and coach interactions. Now, a good way to manage those interactions is take a moment in timeouts. If it's not your timeout that's called and you have an issue, so the other team calls a timeout, then take that opportunity to actually interact with the refs and just make a brief point of something you might want to bring to their attention. Do not engage the referees in a negative banter and calling names. That does nothing for the actual game. It actually brings the game and yourself into disrepute, and it will earn you less respect in future games with those particular referees. So, yeah, it can be frustrating. I get it, dealing with each other and in those interactions, and particularly when they're the arbitrators of what we do, both as coaches and also for our players. So understand that we want to foster good relations with those over time, and understand that the eyes that are looking at you, particularly at a young age, they're going to learn to model your behavior and how you interact with referees. So that's another episode of the Coach Approach. If you feel you want to share your approach to dealing with referees, then make sure you leave a comment in the comments section below. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I would love for you to become part of our community as we continue to grow, and also subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Now, I also want to tell you that OzSwoosh B-ball or basketball actually has a club on Clubhouse now, and we will be adding another club very soon, where basketball coaches and players and referees and others involved in the sport can interact with us. I will put a link to the FIBA, the International Basketball Association's rules, in the link below, so you can download the PDF version of the actual rules of basketball. And I would encourage any coach, whether you're beginner or experienced, to check those out, because they do review them every couple of years. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for being here, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for checking out this episode of The Coach Approach. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take time to leave a like, hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet subscribed, and also feel free to share your own experience in the comments below. We hope to see you again in the next one.